Does living in the private restore firearms ownership? So my question to you is, you went into a mental facility under a forced order, was released as a minor, and they are prohibiting you as an adult from having a gun. Is that correct? Can you type that into the comments? And what is it? And you're saying it's a state law based in Washington, D.C. that is prohibiting you from owning a gun. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So listen, Landon, there is so much that you can do. I would suggest we have a couple of guys. I don't know what it would cost. I wouldn't ask anything. They are just guys that do this kind of stuff on the private side. But there's a lot of also thinking through, like, what is it that you're trying to get accomplished? Number one, Landon, let me explain something. A firearm is a registered gun. A firearm is a registered gun. A gun is something you've built and created. A gun is something that you've purchased and unregistered. A gun is something that was a firearm to somebody else. You bought it and did not register it with the Department of Justice. A gun is something that you bought from somebody else. You put into a private gun trust, and the gun trust owns the gun. A gun is private, not public. Now, that's different than you. A firearm belongs to them. That's why they're able to control the registered organization from receiving a firearm, because they can't control what you are allowed to have in your possession. However, if you were to go and build a gun and you weren't private, but you were public, and they had these rules or restrictions and found out that you had a gun, which I don't know how they would, then you might have to deal with a case. But if you're public and you're a U.S. citizen, there's a good chance under the color of law, because you maybe not be able to defend yourself, that you might have issues there. So if it were me, I would absolutely go out and be private, but I would also have my own gun, build my own gun. And I would, I hate to say it to you, but there are some considerations of whether we should be living on this West Coast or not right now. And I think about it every day. As beautiful as it is outside right now, I think about it every single day. But there are things that you can do to force the state. I can give you names and numbers, and whatever they charge you to help you is between you and them. But these guys are the best at what they do. And they force the onus on the state to prove that they have a right to do this over an individual, especially a minor. And to me, it's past. It doesn't matter whether it was a 5150 or 53 or 5250. The reality is, those are forced things, and they could be a total, sometimes parents do it to their own children just to take a vacation from an unruly kid, or from a kid that they don't want to have responsibility for. So I get it. I don't mean to there's a lot of hope. But again, you're asking, how do I resolve it on the public side? Do you really want to resolve it on the public side? Do you really care what they think? Bond versus the United States is very clear. You have every right. You got to remember, when a statute, code, or ordinance, anything that rebuts the rights of the Constitution for the individual to have their God-given unalienable rights, even post a felony, Bond versus United States basically is clear that they can't. And there's your case that you can utilize if you wanted to stay on the public side and fight this so that you can own a firearm. Why? Why do you want to own a firearm? I don't want to own anything. Do I want to possess a gun that is owned by a gun trust as a state citizen all day long? Unregistered all day long. Is it legal? Yes. Is it lawful? 100%. Is it legal? Yes. Why? Because you're a state citizen, you do not own it, and it's a private unregistered gun. Do you understand where I'm going with this? This is something they have no legal authority over. There again may be presumptions in their mind under the color of law that they could make under a code that they could bring a charge instrument, but only to a US citizen. Now, if it were me, I'd just hit it on both sides, but I don't think you really need to. I think that you're probably missing something and you're not forcing a play, or you're not adopting something that you could be, or you're not demanding something that you could be. So 2 cents. But let me know if you want a name and number of something that I think could help you.